I think it's safe to say that 2023 has been a rough year for movies. I mean, we got a hit here and there, but a lot of them were painfully mediocre and borderline bland. But there would always be one or two movies that people would gush over and ramble about its themes and characters. For most people, it's Guardians of the Galaxy 3 or Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, but for me, it's Godzilla Minus One, and the subject of this video, RWBY Volume 9. And if I'm being honest, this might be my new favorite RWBY volume. Everything from its visuals, its voice acting, its character development, and its story are practically pitch perfect. We start off with a pretty intense recap of the finale of the last volume. We see things from RWBY's literal point of view. Team RWBY find themselves in another world. The team soon realizes this is the Ever After, a supposedly fictional world from a fairy tale they used to read as kids, simply told The Girl Who Fell from the World. The team realizes that the way back home is through a large tree called, well, the tree. Along the way, they meet a couple of colorful characters, a talking mouse named Little that falls asleep during the journey, I can relate, an inquisitive feline called the Curious Cat, who helps the team out on several occasions, but might have ulterior motives, an omnipresent blacksmith who might be connected to the tree, vicious monsters called Jabberwockers, and a rusted knight who is actually an aged John Arc. However, it turns out that Neo has also fallen into the Ever After. She uses her now amplified semblance to become the leader of the Jabberwockers, and sets her vengeful sights on RWBY, but it turns out that RWBY might be on the verge of a mental and physical breakdown.
Where do I begin with a volume that is now so beloved that fans are now demanding for a 10th volume to be greenlit? Well, let's first start with the visuals. They are astounding. The volume took almost a year and a half to complete, and it shows. The Ever After is a creative marvel where logic plays no role and imagination reigns supreme. The creatures are wonderfully animated. The characters are entertaining. The backgrounds are out of this world. Of course, this takes a lot of influence from Alice in Wonderland, but it has enough of an original spin to keep it from being a literal copycat. And I'm a sucker for these kind of fantasy worlds. I love the themes and ideas that this volume presents. It plays with the idea that we shouldn't believe everything that we read. It turns out that the titular girl who fell through the world is a total bitch, and the Curious Cat is a murderous psychopath. I don't know, but something about that really speaks to me. Maybe it's because we're being exposed to it a lot nowadays. There's a moment where RWBY discovers that her own mother lied to her family before she left, adding to her frustration and confusion. It also explores the themes of self-improvement. All of not most of the Ever Afterans go to the tree to ascend and become better versions of themselves, and this does play a key role in RWBY's journey. But the best element in this volume is the character development. John has been stuck in the Ever After for so long that he's grown a bit loopy, yet jaded, but still carrying the guilt of what he did in the volume previous. Neo's path of revenge takes a different turn than what we usually expect. Neo uses her powers to guilt-trip RWBY into ascending and make her fight clones of the people she brought to death's door.
How many more lives do you have to ruin before you realize you're not cut out to save anyone?
RWBY.
And making her fear for the lives that she might lose as well. When RWBY is finally taken to the tree, Neo goes into a catatonic state and becomes possessed by the Curious Cat. Now, normally this would end with Neo getting killed or joining the team, but here, Neo realizes that she still has a lot of problems that only she must fix. If this is going to be the last time we see Neo, it's not a bad send-off for the character. Despite the volume having several antagonists, the real villain is surprisingly Ruby Rose herself, more specifically her insecurities and crumbling mental state. Throughout the course of the volume, we see RWBY slowly lose herself, which leads her to lashing out at her friends and sinking deeper into despair. Lindsay Jones pulls up all the stops when voicing RWBY, delivering a heart-wrenching performance.
I'm sorry, is this a bad time? Are we supposed to be mourning Jean's make-believe friends?
This volume is by far the darkest. Okay, it doesn't have much of a body count like volumes 3 and 8, but it does tackle a lot of unsettling subject matters. putting RWBY into an extension of the viewer through the ringer, which makes it more triumphant when RWBY does make it through and conquer the odds. This is the first time that Casey Lee Williams becomes the primary songwriter for the show. Instead of going for the usual rock and roll approach like her father, it goes for a more experimental approach. Some of the songs kind of remind me of Enya. But that's not the one thing you want me to talk about. Oh no, you want me to talk about the big one. Bumblebee becoming official, and it's the most romantic moment I have ever seen in a while. Blake and Yang are stuck on an unfinished bridge in the middle of a raging storm, and they have to make it to the platform at the center. After some choices of words, they realize whenever they say something affectionate about the other, the bridge becomes more complete, and the weather slowly becomes nicer. After some hesitation, the two finally confess their love for each other, the music starts swelling, the sun is shining, and the two finally embrace in a kiss. Oh, it is just so wholesome! Despite of being as of now the most beloved volume, it still has its share of detractors. Some criticisms are legit, while most of them sound like they're trying to find things to hate because it will get them views. Some fans criticize the volume for being filler. That I 100% disagree. Because it would be pretty awkward to see Team RWBY and John fighting Grimm and Vacro, despite them falling into a void in the last volume. It would feel we skipped a whole chunk of character development and story. Fans have also criticized the pairing of Blake and Yang to be fan service. I can see where they're coming from, but like with Ironwood, if you rewatch the previous volumes, you kind of see their relationship developing. On top of that, RWBY aren't very subtle about the pairing.
A black character that runs by is actually Blake.
It is.
Fun fact.
She is checking out Yang and is like,
She's like, damn
good?
girl, you hot.
No, I'm just kidding. But
It is
a lot of people
dang,
listening
girl.
are probably happy I said that.
Great. We need to use this again somewhere down the line in a more extreme fashion.
Blake is my one true love.
You two can go home and reenact your favorite RWBY scenes. Like that one time Blake dominated, yeah. Oh no! Switch!
If I were to give any criticism, I just wish that the Girl Who Fell for the World story, and to an extension the Ever After, was built up more in the previous volumes. I know it was mentioned in Volume 8, but why not earlier? And I get it, doing a series like this is a pain, and you can only fit so much in a story arc. There is another moment where John becomes exposed to the tree's leaves and sees a vision of Alex. Honestly, it should have been Piera. She was the one who practically made him the way he is. So it should be a vision of her. I mean, we already kind of have that reveal with the blacksmith, so why not give our favorite redhead a moment or two? Outside of that, RWBY Volume 9 is pretty much a perfect entry in the series. It develops the characters, and it takes risks. What else can I say? Volume 9 is my new favorite RWBY volume. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Piera's going to eat me!